Hello and welcome to this week's track guide on Silverstone. First of all, some quick facts. We have 18 corners, 2 DRS zones. The DRS detection zone for the Wellington Straight is just before turn 3, and the detection zone for the Hangar Straight is in Maggots and Beckets, like halfway into Maggots. So, what is strategy looking like? We have the C3, C2, C1 tires, so very durable tires. C3 being the softest, C1 being the hardest. You will not need to use a hard tire. I would imagine the mediums are super durable and are actually faster in race trim compared to the softs. They are also slightly slower in the qualification, in qualifying, so you might want to use the mediums as a qualification tire. Other things to take note of: very important, be aware of the track surface. Don't go out too wide into cops because A, you're going to get invalidation if you just slightly go outside and instantly come back, and B, if you extend it very heavily, you're obviously going to get a penalty if you're racing in a racing league. Other things, another thing not to do is press your brakes too hard into those high-speed corners for Stowe, for example, or for Brooklands. It's very important to not fully apply the brakes, otherwise you're going to get dragged out wide. Now, in the upcoming section, I will talk about the Hotlap, how to do the Hotlap very fast, or like where to go fast. Then after that, I am going to talk about the setup, and in the end, you're going to have the Hotlap without any commentary. Okay, let's not talk about the lap right now. So, when you are coming to the Vale Chicane, the last two actual corners of this track, you want to keep in mind that you want to build as much speed before you cross the finish line. So, how do you do that? The first part of it, just take it really slow. Try to place your car on the left bit right here, so you can like turn in way earlier for the corner, which then in turn means that you have the car as straight sooner than if you would normally take the corner, which then in the end lets you build more speed. To add on, you have less difficulties getting the power down out of this corner. Miss that red sausage curb on the inside of the second part of Vale, then try not to go out too wide. If you go beyond this orange sausage curb with the left wheel, even though your right wheel may be in the track limits or like behind the white line, you're going to get this next lap invalidation. I'm not 100% sure if you get only one invalidation in the race, but you never know with Codemasters games. So, starting the lap, very smooth steering through here, so you don't drop too much speed. Same idea for turn 1. For turn 1, you can actually go ahead, and as you notice, I'm kind of steering to the left onto the curb. That means I'm loading up the left-hand side tires, which then gives me a bit more additional grip. Don't have the differential set to low, otherwise you will spin out there. Take as much curb as possible. You can go really far into the curb, so make sure to benefit from that. Again, really smooth steering inputs through turn 2. Then turn 3, you want to start braking as soon as you hit that left hand side curb, probably when the black part of the curb starts. You might want to pay attention to the track surface. As you might notice, the track is going uphill, since in the background you can see that on here you can see the F1 logo pretty well, but on here it's kind of chopped up. So the track is going uphill, which means you have more weight on the rear tires, slightly more weight on the rear tires. In addition, the corner is uncambered. That means you have more grip. So fully brake, try to keep the steering straight as long as you are fully on the brakes. Then as you slowly release the brakes, you want to start turning in. Downshift down to second. You can also keep it in third. I usually like to be in a gear lower at the apex, and then as soon as I pass the apex, or as soon as I stop braking, I upshift. Now let's stop talking about gearing. Now focus on the track surface yet again. You can notice that the track is still going uphill just before the apex. It kind of dips down, but on the exit, after the red sausage curb on the inside, it slightly goes up yet again. So just keep that in mind for the weight distribution of your car to prevent those spins. Like, you need to understand how the car behaves in those areas where it just drops down and stuff. Slightly miss the red sausage herb, get as close as possible, so you can actually gain a lot of time that way, obviously. Then, as soon as you're coming out of the corner, you want to start accelerating around here. That's where the track is going down yet again. Like the track surface is going downhill, slightly downward slope. You want to squeeze the throttle momentarily as soon as you have the uh, car straight. So you build more speed. More speed equals more downforce. So you have more force on the front of the tires, which can help you around turn 4, turning into turn 4. I want you to pay attention to the right-hand side advertisement boards, the 2021 boards. If you have the peripheral vision for that in the Hotlap, as soon as you pass those advertisement boards, you want to start braking. Fully engage the brakes momentarily, go down to second gear. As soon as you're fully on the brakes, release them very, very fast, but keep around 20-25% as to not engage ABS or as to not lock up your tires. Then go for a really, really early apex, usually earlier than expected. So A, you have the car straight sooner, and B, you can set yourself up for the track surface after this. So, talking about the track surface of turn 4, you might notice that the track indeed is dropping in the inside yet again. That means it's on camber, much more grip on the inside. You're going to notice it when you're in game. The track is going uphill right here. So what you want to do is you want to have the car, like turn the car in a way which puts it on that uphill part right here as soon as possible, so you can floor the car as soon as possible, which means A, you're going to have a much more stable exit if you're on that uphill slope or like on that even part of the track. If you start accelerating too much around here, you're obviously going to spin. If you keep the car too much to the left and you decide to get on that even part too late, you're also going to spin out. So bottom line, try to get the car to the outside right here to get a stable exit. Then as soon as you're on that outside part, you want to 100% squeeze the throttle, try to get on the throttle as early as possible. You can also, instead of like having a slight steering appliance right here, like keep the steering straight, so you have a bit more freedom of actually not oversteering the car like I did right here. You can see that I needed to do a lot of corrections right there. That's why I also short shifted. Short shifting is also important for that corner if you're a bit unsafe on the throttle. So as soon as you pass the apex, personally, I upshift to third. You can also just like turn 3, keep it on third, not downshift to second, but keep it on third if you want to have a bit more of a stable exit. Then as soon as you get on that outside part, you can upshift to fourth, and then that's basically it for sector 1. Next corner, turn 5 it is, I believe. Cut as much as possible. Really smooth steering input so you don't strap off too much speed. That is sector 1. Now coming to Brooklands. After the 50-meter board, you want to start turning in. And very, very important, don't fully apply the brakes at all. Keep it at like the maximum at the start is about 75 percent, because if you do more than that, you're going to scrap too much speed, or you're going to drag out the car too wide because the ABS is engaging, or you're going to lock up. Again, notice the track surface. The track right here, you can't see the racing line, right? So it's going uphill yet again. That means you can brake a bit harder, but as soon as the track drops down, that's why the ABS gets engaged, because you have more weight on the fronts. That's why you're going to like get dragged outward, or you're going to lock up. So that's why it's really important to let off the brakes about 50%, almost perfect 50% that I'm holding right here, down to fourth gear. Inside is all on cambered right here. You can cut a bit more of that inside curb, though be careful, those red parts, those reds kind of sausage curbs right there will unsettle your car. Before you even come to the apex, you already want to apply the throttle. For me personally, as soon as I get straight right here, I completely floor it for a split second. Again, gives you a bit more speed. I also do, like, because I know how the car behaves under very high throttle input right here, I tend to oversteer the car just a tiny bit into the corner. You would ideally have a very wide entry right here, so you can come back for the apex on the exit of Luffield. Very, very important for Luffield. All of the inside is uncambered. So you want to have a wide entry, so you can see right here, I'm going back to the part on the inside that's uncambered, which means more grip, more easy acceleration out of the corner. You can do it. I kind of did a double apex right here, which is also fine. It also is comparable to a wider entry line. A lot of different lines through Luffield. Make sure that the line you choose is the most stable line on the exit. Try to really keep it on the inside on the exit. Also, you might want to stay in third for the whole of Luffield. I personally always like to uh, go down a gear more than others, because for me personally, upshifting gives you a slight bit more rotation, so that kind of helps myself. Or it may just be placebo, but yeah, that's the way I've been driving. Then on the exit, you need to focus on having the car as straight as possible. For the exit, again, just be a bit gradual on the throttle. The faster you go, the more downforce you produce. So as soon as you're like about 160 kph, you can try to full floor it out of this corner. You can use this exit AstroTurf as an extension, so feel free to do that. Then coming to the national pit straight, right here you should cut as much of this right here. Again, really important, smooth steering input, very key here. Then coming to cops, which in the race is easily flat. On mediums, on softs it's kind of iffy. As soon as you pass the 50-meter board, you want to start turning in a bit aggressively, and then after that, after you have like the initial turn in, you don't want to turn in more, because the rear in here, like in that part of the track, is very, very trigger happy. Like it usually goes around if you try to correct the steering a bit more. So after the initial turn in, don't try to turn in more, as that will oversteer the car. Just if you end up running too wide most of the times, you can cut a bit of the inside right here. Don't hit those red sausage curbs, that's going to drag you out. Then really important, try to place the car in a way that the left-hand side tire is obviously still touching the black and white curb, otherwise you're going to get a warning. There is also an issue with cops that you can just extend it very, very far onto the left and not get an invalidation. Please don't do that. It's just artificially going to improve your lap time, but you haven't really earned it. So try not to do that. Maggots, Beckets, and Chapel, one of the most iconic parts of the track. An F1 car is completely rapid, obviously completely flat right here, completely flat right here. Try to cut as much curb right here, so you can prepare the car for the following two corners, which are the most crucial ones. As soon as you are coming out of this corner, you want to momentarily have the car straight, then turn in down to 7th gear, have a bit of throttle application applied, or like a bit of throttle applied, so the car doesn't broke down. It's very important to engage the differential right here, so you don't spin or you don't just go out wide. Then philosophy, again, try to cut as much right here as early as possible, so you can like set up the car for Chapel, I believe it is. Yeah, it's Chapel. Then as soon as you're done with Beckett's, throw the car into the inside right here. It's like you can throw it in very, very harshly. just make sure to completely apply the brakes when throwing it in, so you have the most downforce on the or like the most grip on the front tires, and obviously when you're braking hard, the downforce is going to get increased in the front, so that's what enables you to throw the car in down to fifth gear. You can also keep it in sixth gear, accelerate as early as possible, so you can obviously get the speed advantage down the straight. You can also cut a bit more on the inside right here. Again, you might want to stay clear of those red sausage curbs. They don't unsettle your car too much, but everything, like every little bit that unsettles you, is going to cost you time inevitably. Then you need to try to have the left hand side wheel on the black and white sausage curb, not sausage curb, on the black and white curb right here. Open up the DRS, stay to the left. There's a little, like the timing for sector 2 is a little bit glitchy, so if you stay on the left right here, it glitches out and gives you like a 1 or 2 hundredths. Coming to Stowe corner now, you want to start braking on the black and white curb on the left hand side, along halfway along that. You want to start turning in. The track is going uphill, so you can apply the brakes a bit more than normally, but since you're carrying a lot of speed and you want to carry a lot of speed through Stowe, you should probably have it around 70-75%. If you go higher than that, the game also tends to engage the ABS if you're driving with ABS and carries you out wide, so that can lose you time actually. Get close to the inside right here. I kind of understeered a bit. You want to have the right hand side wheel on the black and white sausage curb or a lot closer to it. Don't hit the inside of those red small sausage curbs. Then accelerate as soon as possible, as early as possible, so you get a lot of drive here. You can have the right hand side tire on this white line. You want to obviously maximize this, so if you're going very, very early on the throttle, go out wide right here. Then Vale, start braking as soon as you come to this black and white curb. As you need to start steering in with like about a bit more percentage of brake appliance than I did. You can eat this red sausage curb right here. Again, key philosophy for Vale is you want to be very brave through the first part, but on the second part, you want to A, turn it very early, so you have the car as straight as possible as soon as possible, and B, miss the inside curb right here. That's what messed me up. Obviously, try to then carry as much speed. Because I had a bit of an unsettling experience right here, I understeered the car quite heavily, so I lost like 5 or 8 hundredths through here alone, which obviously sucks since it's the last corners. The nerves are gonna get a bit stressed if you're doing the hot lap in your actual league race. So keep in mind, don't hit this red sausage curb. Don't go out too wide onto that orange sausage curb as well. That gives you a bit less traction, I feel like. And yeah, through the last corner, just have a very smooth steering application and keep the car straight as long as possible to not scrub off any speed. And that is a lap around Silverstone. Now I will also show you like the setup that I've used, and yeah, and then the hot lap at the end. As far as setup goes, this is the normal esports setup. So 6-8 wings. You can also go 5-7 wings on for the race. You could also theoretically go lower on the front wing. I wouldn't recommend going lower on the rear wing, since the rear traction of for the softs out of the last corner, for example, is rather tragic, or like out of Vale to be exact. Then transmission 90-53, you can also put it at 95 differential on the softs in the race, just to make sure that you can do cops more flat or like with more throttle application. Suspension geometry, right, left, and then a bit of front toe. You can also reduce that or increase that, depends on your preference. Then rear toe hard left, 1.8, 1.7, 1.7, so quite oversteery. You can also increase the front right side to 2.7 to give you a bit more of a better grip when you're in dirty air. Brakes, 150%. You can also theoretically go 95% to decrease the amounts of times the ABS carries you out, or you can decrease the lockups. For tires, for the quali, you want to decrease the tires a tiny bit. For the race, you want to have it probably halfway. The front's a bit less pressure than the rears, and yeah, that is the setup I've used and possible corrections for the race. So now you're going to see the hot lap. Again, thanks for watching, and hopefully we will see each other on the racetrack.